Welcome back, everyone. I thought that I would try my hand at doing a voiceover. I'm new at this and having your feedback would be very helpful. So if you don't mind, please leave a comment below. In this video, I go through the process of unboxing and setting up a Grizzly T25926 10-inch by 18-inch benchtop lathe with a 22-inch bed extension. If you've seen any of my most recent posts, you've probably seen this lathe in the background. I would have posted this process when I first got the lathe, but life happened, other projects came along, so this one got shoved aside. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get to the setup. So the first thing to do here is to get everything unloaded. Get this large box. This has got the lathe in it. How do you like that heavy-duty cart? Get this in the garage here and move some things around. Set this thing down on the floor. Now I got to head back out and get the other box. This box here has the 22-inch extension in it. You never really know what to expect when you are opening boxes. You know, things have been shipped from China and you just don't know what to expect. So, you know, upon first glance, things look fairly normal. Standard packaging. I'm going to get this thing out of the plastic here and take a good look at it. One of the first things I notice is on a ground surface, there's some surface rust right there. That was kind of bothersome. But everything else seemed to be in place and in order. I did notice that in the casting there, where I've got my thumb and my forefinger, that there seems to be some rough areas in the casting that could cause some problems down the road. And we'll see. Now I'm opening up the box. It's got the lathe in it. Ta-da! There it is. There she blows. Get this thing over to the bench and set it down. Doesn't weigh a whole lot, but it's got some weight to it. As with the extension, I get all this plastic off of here. Things look pretty good. Nothing major. As with most machines, you always got that little bag of goodies that comes with it. And in this particular case, I've got the tool rest. I'm going to give that a good once over and take a look at that and make sure it's all good. Set that into place. And then I've got some other things in the bag here, a few tools. Looks to be a few hex keys, 3 of those. And so we have a 3mm, a 6mm, and an 8mm. And so those will come in handy, I'm sure, later on. So here I'm just putting on the feet at the tail stock end of the lathe. And now I'm doing the same thing at the head stock of the lathe. I thought it was kind of odd that I had to use a standard screwdriver in order to attach the handle to the tailstock ram, especially when they give you hex keys to use. So in that bag of goodies that you saw earlier was this open end wrench and this rod These two are used together in order to be able to take the faceplate off of the headstock, as you can see here. And then once that's done, you can put the drive spur into the headstock. And now for the live center and the tailstock. Just doing a quick inspection of the motor control and the power switch. This rod acts as a hinge pin and is used to connect the motor control box to the lathe. In order to put tension on the belt, I had to first loosen this bolt with the appropriate hex key. Then I had to pull on the motor mount lever and then retighten the bolt. The tension seems fine. These two bolts are removed and this plate has to come off because this is where the extension is going to mount. So I've got to make sure that this surface is free of any dirt and debris, any kind of metal chips, anything that would interfere with the extension going on cleanly. I laid everything up on the table saw and then secured the lathe with a clamp. The extension came with its own feet, so I put those on. The extension itself mounts to the lathe with a couple of bolts and lock washers. As I tightened these bolts, I realized that I was going to run into some trouble. The heads of the bolts were not seating all of the way, and I ran into some other issues with alignment. As you can see here, I'm having to use my mallet to align things. I'm just feeling for alignment here. As I tighten this bolt, you can actually see the casting moving back and forth, which means that either the hole has been drilled improperly or the casting is causing the head of the bolt to not seat well. I knew this area right here might cause me a problem when I first inspected it straight out of the box. So I busted out a coarse flat file and a coarse round file and went to town, doing the best I could to flatten out that area so the head of the bolt would seat correctly. This took a little bit of time, I'm not going to lie. This took probably about half hour, 45 minutes to do this. Back and forth with the flat file and the round file. Here's how it turned out after all of that filing. So I put the bolts back in again, made sure that everything was in alignment, tightened everything up, made sure that everything was the way it was supposed to be, and then moved it all over to the bench. This time I'm having to use a number 2 Phillips screwdriver in order to take off this plastic piece before I can slide the banjo and the tailstock on. Instead of putting that small plastic piece on that I just took off, I decided to use the plate that was on the lathe to begin with and just call it good. Now, I'm not sure what you use or if you use anything at all, but I prefer to use paste wax on anything that's got a machined surface. Any of my equipment that has a machined surface gets a coat of paste wax. This does two things. It prevents rust and it allows mating parts or materials to slide across those surfaces smoothly. So I like to place a liberal amount of paste wax on all the machined surfaces. Now that everything's together, I can check the distance between centers, and it appears as though I have roughly 39 inches, which should be more than enough. I guess this is what you might call a glory shot of the whole lathe put together. Other than having to do all that filing and dicking around with the alignment, things didn't go too bad. Let's fire this thing up and see how it runs. Well, as you can see, the digital readout displays that the RPMs are well above the maximum limit stated by the speed chart and the motor. That's it for this time. Thanks for coming along as I put together this Grizzly T25926 benchtop lathe and extension. If you own one of these lathes and you found this video to be helpful, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Hey, just real quick before you go, if you give this video a thumbs up, if you do me a favor and subscribe, I sure would appreciate it. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any content. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.